Well, Excellencies, good morning, and this is the second the second panel on a very important topic that we're all very pleased that the Doha engagement has taken place. And let me just start with a few comments before I open it up to my fellow panelists. Of course, as we heard from the previous discussion, the global South countries, accounting for more than half of the world's economic growth in recent years, have portrayed most significant type of cooperation. Countries of the South have also realized the importance of promoting sound development policies, practices which are based on greater national and collective self-reliance, and we've seen this in some of the discussions on the graduation. However, and as DSG Amina Mohammed mentioned, the cascading crises, be it COVID, be it the war in Europe, growing climate challenges, we still have that 46 LDCs of the world have witnessed increased challenges due to the pre-existing conditions related to underinvestment in health system, weak social protection systems, and vulnerability to shocks. However, there are two key lessons that come out of this, and this is that knowledge is becoming one of the most valuable commodities, knowledge being very critical to developing effective institutions, building capacity, and creating sustainable solutions. And the second lesson is that no nation, irrespective of its abilities, can go through all of this on its own. On the contrary, there is more need for collaboration. And one of the very important aspects that we show or we've witnessed during the Istanbul Program of Action between 2011 and 2020 was progress made in areas related to access to information, communication technology, sustainable energy, health, education. However, progress was uneven and there were critical gaps. And that's why, building on some of these lessons, we have today the Doha Program of Action for Least Developed Countries for a decade 2022 to 2023. And as we saw from previous speakers, there's a key role for everyone to be able to create more robust partnerships to move forward. Let me say that governments and international development institutions should not be contributing to this process alone, and this is one of the key items of our roundtable today. This process should crucially involve private sector actors and philanthropies, and I know that my fellow panelists will be discussing this in more detail. So to accelerate action towards achieving the SDGs, we need to mobilize resources by capitalizing on private capital through incentives, including grants, concessional loans by multilateral development banks and international financial institutions. And let me here mention one of the outcomes of COP27, which is the Sharm el-Sheikh Guidebook for Just Financing. This is a product that we put together with our multilateral development banks and many development partners, as well as philanthropists and private sector. And this was launched on the Finance Day of COP27. And the guidebook sets forward 12 core principles for just financing to ensure equitable access to quality and quantity of climate finance that leaves no one behind, and places very special focus on closing the finance gap for LDCs through a variety of mechanisms and tools to promote just financing. And therefore, the guidebook showcases a set of innovative financing tools, and we heard in the previous panel, financing is extremely important, and today as we're talking about climate action, everything has been linked to green finance, and therefore, when we talk about this for LDCs, we have to think about the just component of financing. Again, the path towards sustainable development for LDCs is ahead of us, and there are clear targets and clear venues of cooperation. We saw from previous members that there are different initiatives in different countries that are promoting both South-South triangular, and as was mentioned also, a complement to North-South, not a substitute. So I will stop my word here, and let me now mention that this panel is one that, as I mentioned, is looking at innovative tools for financing, private sector with respect to the South-South collaboration, We will deliberate concrete actions, innovative tools, solid partnerships to accelerate the implementation of the Doha Declaration and its deliverables.